my videos. Alright, let's go over number 3. Number 3 says factor each polynomial by grouping the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. So they kind of gave you a hint to factor by grouping. On a quiz or test, I'll probably just write these directions. Factor completely. I'm not going to tell you which of the many ways of factoring that there are. For number 3, it said a cubed minus 3a squared plus 5a minus 15. Yesterday we learned that you can break them up into 2 groups. Looks like these 2 groups have something in common. A more complicated problem, they would you would have to kind of put them in order. So I know it's factoring by grouping because you have 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can separate to the right side. I can break them up into factors. A times A times A is a cubed. And then 3 times A times A. So in this problem you have a squared in common. And then now I'm going to write everything that I did not circle in red. A minus 3. On the green side, I'm going to do the same thing. So plus, so I have 5 times A. And then notice how I put the subtraction sign there because both of them are not negative. If they were both negative, then I'd probably take out the factor of a negative 1. So I can just use, notice here I'm not going to write 15 times 1, I'm going to choose 5 times 3. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm looking over here and realizing there's a common factor of a 5 already. They both have a 5 in common. That is now my greatest common factor of the green. So now I'm just left with A minus 3. And this is how you know you're doing it correctly because you see that on both sides. Yesterday we learned that this is actually my first set of greatest common factors. That's the first set. I know I did greatest common factor twice, so in some ways you can actually think of it as 3 times. 1, 2, and then we're going to do the third one. This 5 here is positive, so you can put a plus sign. And then you're looking in this row, you're looking at what do they have in common? Well, they have an A minus 3 in common. So now that becomes my greatest common factor. What did I not highlight in blue, class? A squared plus 5. And this is my answer. Now you can always check your answer if you wanted to. I'm not going to take the time, but you can just put that into the box or foil and you'll realize it'll come back to these 4 terms. So to review, factoring by grouping is really taking 2 GCFs, or 2 sets of GCFs. Or you can also think of it as doing it 3 times. 1, 2, and then the third time in blue.